Welcome to your in-depth weekly astrology overview and zodiac forecast for week commencing the 2nd of June. I'm going to share with you some standout details to look out for to begin with, then the event chart on screen right at the top of the week, which always provides an influential backdrop for the whole 7 days. I'll then go through each of the key influences frame by frame to give a clear picture of what we can collectively expect. Please stay with me. I'll go through each of the 12 zodiac signs from Aries through to Pisces, which you can relate to in terms of your ascendant, sun or the moon. A very warm welcome. Thank you so much for joining me, all your views and interactions. If you've yet to subscribe to the channel, please help it thrive and do so now. But please also remember to click or tap the bell notification symbol. If you'd like to chat with me one-to-one, please check out my testimonials below. You can see how other people have found working directly with me. With year 2025 zipping by, as it seems to be, you can order your personal forecast for year 2026 now, and I'll give you the rest of this year free, but also 30% off, but critically your life roadmap report, the most important document any of us can ever read, totally unique to us, but that helps us to get an intimate understanding of the patterns that have played out in our lives so far, work with them more effectively, and together with the forecast, plan your moves ahead much more astutely. Please see the link below for more. My new website is also really doing well now. Please join us at patrickarundell.com. You can get your free daily, weekly, monthly and yearly general, love and Vedic forecast, but also check out my 3-card tarot. It really is a stunner, even if I say so myself. You can also sign up for your free daily horoscope to be fired to your device each morning. Please see below for all that too. Thank you too for the people who've become members. I'm going to be doing a live soon, and I hope that's going to enable you to get to know me better, but also we can close up our connection too. Please watch out for that soon. As we make our way into this new week, that restless but perhaps provocative energy between the moon and Mars, which brought the curtain down on last week's proceedings, could still be reverberating out at the start of this week. There may have been something quite dramatic that happened, but perhaps also quite exciting. Now, in terms of relationships, Venus, the relator, is meeting with Chiron right at the start of this week. Venus has been on quite a shuttle mission this year, hasn't she? If you recall, she was in an exact conjunction as far back as the 19th of January with the stern Saturn. Then moved into Aries, back into the sign of Pisces, back into Aries. So that big retrograde season perhaps did tease into the open some different issues about our self-worth, which Venus can represent, but also our values, maybe how we present ourselves, or our sense of attractiveness and allure. So it's been quite the journey for us all. So this combination with Chiron gives us a chance to think into that journey and perhaps just in some ways decompress from some of the experiences we had. Also, Venus can be about close intimate relationships, and I feel that Chiron in Aries is very much about our identity. So if, for example, a past relationship has left a mark deep within us, this would be an excellent opportunity to really feel into the situation and try to release that, and that creates the space to make better connections with people future forwards. Now, if we do want to talk about a relationship matter, it's going to be Mercury connecting with Chiron later this week, which will help that process too. So a fine time to come to terms with that turbulent journey of Venus. And then of course later this week on Friday, Venus returns home to the sign of Taurus, where she's very sensual, and that can be very good for some people when it comes to a financial uptick. But also, as I mentioned before, there is a quarter moon on Tuesday. Quarter moons are when the sun and the moon are at a 90-degree right angle. We get 2 a month. This one's in the precise practical sign of Virgo. The sun in the speedy Gemini is about the ideas. What the moon in Virgo is asking us to do is execute our ideas with precision. But it's also suggesting that we don't perhaps get too caught up in whatever it is we're thinking about, because that could see us actually set too big a target to achieve this week, and we could end up feeling a bit stressed out. So if you are wanting to catch up on any chores, obligations, that Virgoan energy, and you're needing to discuss it, send text messages or emails, slow things down as much as you can. Interestingly, and perhaps paradoxically, Mercury, the ruler of the sign of Gemini, is forging, along with that fine link to Chiron, a very energized link to Mars. And that's going to be really much more to the fore as the week goes on, and it peaks on Thursday. However, on Friday, that return of Venus to Taurus is interesting because it is going to be challenged towards the end of this week by the tiny but potent energies of Pluto. If someone does offer some kind of financial deal, incentive, or is being rather suggestive in terms of a romantic situation, the detachment of Pluto can actually be very helpful here to try to understand what their deeper reason might be, because sometimes people ladle on the charm when Venus and Pluto are in a square or an opposition, but actually it's very much to get what they want from the situation. As I mentioned before, over the last year, Jupiter has really not had it easy, with Saturn in a right angle broadly for much of that time and in 3 exact squares. So as we come to the end of this week and they're preparing to sweep jointly into the sign of Cancer, which will occur next Monday, they do celebrate that Gemini energy. So if there is something to do with an idea, a discussion, an internet site, a blog, some software, an app that you're personally connected it to or interested in, or you're wanting to boost a relationship with someone in your local community, or you have a connection you want to improve with a sibling, some good news can bring this week to a close. So Aries, your week commencing the 2nd of June forecast begins with that very lively link between the moon and your ruler Mars in the passionate but assertive but also charismatic Leo. And I feel that that's just going to give you a real sense of excitement and possibility about what this week will hold. But if you have gone through some deep frustrations over the last few months with Venus going backwards and forwards in your sign and being afflicted by the cold, repressive energies of Saturn in your 12th house, if you have felt lower in confidence and self-belief, if there has been a separation in any kind of alliance, whether it is professionally or it is in a personal relationship, I think this week does give you a chance to really get on the front foot. So that excitement as you burst into this week can also be translated by the amount of physical energy you have, but also your desire to get stuck in and make things happen. And I feel that that combination between Venus and Chiron in your sign is great if you are thinking about giving yourself a makeover. Now, for many of us, we will have a haircut from time to time. Some people might think about their personal grooming, other people it will come more from their clothes. But if you can find some tweaks, even if you're a dedicated follower of fashion, I feel that's just going to feed into this feel-good narrative. But we do have that quarter moon. It's a quarter moon that can lead to a little bit of brittleness. If there is someone around you who tends to be perhaps a little bit of a perfectionist, it could prove to be somewhat frustrating, because I think you're in the mood to see the big picture, but also get stuck in and use your natural innate leadership skills and desire to make things happen. So if there is someone just making the odd point around the sides, that could be somewhat irritating. But if you have found that your finances have been a little bit uncertain, the arrival of Venus in her home sign of Taurus really can be a green light for you. You are going to have an opportunity to get in a much better place. But as I mentioned in the introduction, we do have a square with Pluto. So when it comes to your long-term finances, Pluto in Aquarius against your immediate desire to splash out, maybe there's something that just needs to be tempered. But you could find that impulse is strong, particularly if it is, for example, considering some new tech, a new mode of transport, something that is going to bring some sparkle to you. But don't be surprised, Aries, if you end this week socialising, connecting to people and having a very jolly and uplifting time. Please join me at my new website at www.patrickarundell.com. You can enjoy your free daily, weekly, monthly and yearly general, love and Vedic forecast, but also my 3 tarot, which is absolutely stunning. Also, you can sign up for your free daily written horoscope fired to your device each morning. Please see below for more. Welcome, Taurus, to your in-depth weekly forecast for week commencing the 2nd of June. Over the last year, Taurus, Jupiter, the planet of plenty, the planet of fortune, has been occupying the part of your chart to do with everyday money. So it may have been teased by some people that some extra loot or financial success and income would come your way from the point it joined the sign of Gemini late May last year. If you've been fortunate enough to benefit from that, I'm absolutely delighted for you. But if you haven't, but have been doing a lot of work, building up your future plans by investing in what's sustainable for you, you're going to get your reward this week, I feel. But equally, if you have been going through some tender, sensitive stuff around your personal involvements and have been at times feeling that you're not quite sure about how other people feel about you, it really wouldn't be a surprise if there have been some tensions around certain friendships or alliances throughout this year, and some relationships, be it with colleagues, be it with people in your social circle, or perhaps romantically, may have come to a close, or at the very least, you've been considering what to do at a very, very profound level. The fact that Venus combines with Chiron at the start of this week, your ruler, is really asking you to come to terms with anything that didn't quite work out. But don't lose your sense of faith, because you could find yourself feeling quite optimistic on the quarter moon on Tuesday, and maybe even in the mood to have a little bit of a flutter. If you are someone with an appetite for speculation, this could encourage you to check out your options. Also, Mercury and Mars are linking very powerfully later this week. If there are things you can do in terms of your home situation, some modifications you can make, and perhaps declutter, add some features which add value, you're going to find yourself really up for the challenge. But on Friday, wonderfully, Venus returns to your sign. And if you have been going through some very, very sensitive phases over the last few months, whether it's how you feel about yourself, how you feel about your personal attractiveness, you can move into the moment. But when it comes to your professional situation, there may be someone who is actually going to creep up on your senses over the next week. Are they for real? Well, I think the main thing is to just let this evolve and don't rush the process. But don't be surprised if over the next few weeks more than one admirer beats their way to your door. As the week draws to a close, finally, if you've put that effort in, if you sustain the effort, if you've had a real clear plan that you've been working towards, and you've been getting all the different elements of that systematically in place, working very diligently, you can have a significant financial uplift as this week draws to a close. Please join me at my new website at www.patrickarundell.com. You can enjoy your free daily, weekly, monthly and yearly general, love and Vedic forecast, but also my 3 tarot, which is absolutely stunning. Also, you can sign up for your free daily written horoscope fired to your device each morning. Please see below for more. So Gemini, your week commencing the 2nd of June forecast is so exciting. As last week came to a close, not only was Mercury, your ruler, in that conjunction, that superior conjunction, Gazimi, with the Sun, which really helped you to dazzle people with the radiance of your ideas and personality, but also in a very quick, fast-moving, agile way. Also, you had the moon connecting with Mars in your 3rd solar house. So whatever your ideas are, the chances are you've been expressing them, as last week came to a close, with a lot of conviction, a lot of enthusiasm, but it has been creating a lot of excitement. You may have found it difficult to sit on your hands, put it that way. So if you were a little bit more physically active as Sunday came to a close, that would be quite fitting. But as we come into this week, relationships, but particularly your friendships, your network, your alliances come under the astral microscope, with Venus the relator connecting to Chiron, the so-called wounded healer. If you have been going through some bruising encounters at times, as far as certain professional but also friendship connections are concerned this year, with Venus going backwards and forwards across your 10th and 11th houses, it wouldn't be a surprise. This is a great opportunity to just think about what you offer. If there's people around you who don't get it, that could be revealed as Venus pitches into your 12th house on Friday, to be perfectly honest. And there could be a point of principle that comes into the open over the end of this week and the start of next week. But also there is a quarter moon as this week begins on Tuesday in the part of your situation to do with home, family, emotion. But the urgency that's being gifted to you at the moment may make it more difficult to pause and just stay with how things feel, but do try to, because if you rush things, particularly with Mercury linking so passionately to both Chiron and also Mars in the latter part of this week, you're really going to be roaring forwards. But you're just reminded that if you're discussing anything of importance, particularly around a home, family or emotional issue, just try to slow things down a little bit. Now, I just hinted about Venus pitching into your 12th house. If there is something you do want to reflect on around any kind of relationship, or even an investment or financial issue, what Venus asks you to do in the 12th house is to take your time. But over the last year, Jupiter, back in your sign for its once in 12th year's visit since the end of May last year, has unfortunately had quite a tough time afflicted by Saturn. But as we come to the end of this week, Jupiter is going to be meeting with, or Mercury, your ruler, is going to be meeting with Jupiter in a fabulous conjunction. This is one of astrology's best conjunctions for any kind of trading. If you're buying and selling online, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're someone who has ideas you want to share with people, you're going to be absolutely full of pizzazz as this week draws to a close. So very, very exciting indeed. This is a week when I feel it's very, very energized for you, gives you an opportunity to get on the front foot. There's a lot of excitement, but with that quarter moon in the 4th house and Venus diving into your 12th house, it's important just to stay mindful of the psychological domain and the emotional dimension of your situation. Please join me at my new website at www.patrickarundell.com. You can enjoy your free daily, weekly, monthly and yearly general, love and Vedic forecast, but also my 3 tarot, which is absolutely stunning. Also, you can sign up for your free daily written horoscope fired to your device each morning. Please see below for more. So Cancer, your week commencing the 2nd of June forecast is going to see a cresting of energy at the top of your chart right at the start of the week, with Venus combining with Chiron. If there's a professional relationship that has been struggling a little bit, this could be the week when you do some deep thinking, deep discussion, perhaps even some reflection about exactly what to do. This is going to be emphasized by the quarter moon on Tuesday. It's possible that if you work in an environment which isn't particularly supportive, there are some politics, perhaps some backbiting, then that could be something you become much more conscious of not really wanting to be part of. In fact, as Venus moves into the friendliest part of your chart on Friday, that's really making you much more conscious about the type of relationships, the type of connections that you want future forwards. As the week draws to a close, however, you could discover something, or someone could give you a tip or some inside knowledge which could prove to be very revelatory in a very positive way. All of this is preparing for when Jupiter, but critically Mercury, move into your sign at the start of next week, which really ushers in a new 12-year cycle. But as this week comes to a close, I do feel a lot of your thinking is going to be atmospheric. As much as there are the potential for discussions, there may be opportunities. It's how it all feels, and if there are some anxieties or concerns that you haven't quite addressed, this could be the week to do so, and it may be one supportive friend from Venus moving into the sign of Taurus who really stands up and gives you some very important advice. Please join me at my new website at www.patrickarundell.com. You can enjoy your free daily, weekly, monthly and yearly general, love and Vedic forecast, but also my three card tarot, which is absolutely stunning. Also, you can sign up for your free daily written horoscope fired to your device each morning. Please see below for more. So Leo, your week commencing the 2nd of June forecast begins in dramatic fashion with the moon and Mars in your sign having coalesced as last week came to a close. That could see you keen to be in the moment as you burst into this week, full of enthusiasm, perhaps a little impatient, maybe quite direct, but also really enthusiastic. And the link between them and the position of Mercury this week is really exciting. So if you've got a long-term plan that you're really keen to take a giant step towards, there's every chance there can be excellent news by the end of this week as Mercury aligns with Jupiter, the planet of fortune. And that could be something to really relish. However, also this week, knowledge can be very important as Venus combines with Chiron at the start of the week. You may seek some advice, you may talk to a friend, an associate who can give you some information that could be very valuable as Mercury also links to Chiron as the week goes on. There is a quarter moon, however, this week, so when it comes to your financial future, the square between the Sun in Gemini and the Moon in Virgo asks you to scrutinise the details and also be aware of what your values are. However much a financial opportunity may call out to you, does it actually feel right? Your people power, but also your skills and charisma can be exceptionally helpful to you over the next few weeks as Venus climbs to the highest part of your chart on Friday and also returns home to the central earthy Taurus. But the square with Pluto does suggest that if you are meeting some influential folks, you don't try too hard. It could seem a little inauthentic if you do. But by the end of this week, if there is a situation that's within your grasp that you've worked really hard on and may have proved to be somewhat elusive over the last year with Jupiter afflicted by Saturn, the combination of Mercury and Jupiter as this week comes to a close and the ability to cultivate those important associations and contacts really could see some kind of significant breakthrough. Please join me at my new website at www.patrickarundell.com. You can enjoy your free daily, weekly, monthly and yearly general, love and Vedic forecast, but also my 3 card tarot, which is absolutely stunning. Also, you can sign up for your free daily written horoscope fired to your device each morning. Please see below for more. Virgo, your week commencing the 2nd of June forecast is really important as far as all sorts of relationships, because ever since the 3rd of January this year, Venus has been making her way through either the 7th house of partnership, where she met up with Saturn on the 19th of January, and then, if you recall, made her way into the sign of Aries, very much about deep, passionate, potentially intimate ties, before the retrograde, back into the sign of Pisces, back into Aries on the 14th of April, and now is coming to the end of that epic journey by moving into your sister Earth sign of Taurus on Friday this week. But the key with that is that that's going to give you an opportunity to get to a point of truth. But the relationships I'm talking about don't necessarily have to be romantic. It may be a partnership business-wise. It could be with a friend, maybe with a colleague. But what that 7th, 8th house energy has been asking you, particularly with Saturn in the mix and applying to other planets too, is that however much you seem to have tried to be as collaborative and cooperative as possible, you may not have felt that that's particularly been appreciated or reciprocated. But whatever's happened to you during that period of time, now you're reaching a moment of greater clarity. But also when it comes to your professional situation, because there is a stunning link between your ruler Mercury and Jupiter, the planet of faith, hope, confidence and good fortune, which has been afflicted by Saturn over the last year. If it is around a business association, you're going to get an outcome by the end of this week where you know exactly where you stand. For some people, it may be the need to break free. For other people, it could be a sense of confidence that what you've learned, what you've gained and what you've given has left you enriched and able to make your way forwards in a better place. But certainly your ambitions are to the fore this week. It could be that an old experience, some knowledge or contact could come back into your situation in a very powerful way. But if you are making the most of a relationship and it is going from strength to strength, I do think it's important to keep working at it. And if you are the person who tends to be the giver, make sure that the other person knows what you expect from them too, particularly with Pluto clashing with Venus as this week draws to a close. Please join me at my new website at www.patrickarundell.com. You can enjoy your free daily, weekly, monthly and yearly general, love and Vedic forecast, but also my 3 card tarot, which is absolutely stunning. Also, you can sign up for your free daily written horoscope fired to your device each morning. Please see below for more. So Libra, your week commencing the 2nd of June forecast sees your ruling planet Venus right at the heart of the celestial action. She starts the week in an embrace with Chiron. If there is something around a relationship matter that would benefit from some healing, for some forgiveness, for a peaceful approach, then that's a great chance to embrace. But also Mercury, the communicator, is linking fabulously with Chiron too. Someone could give you a different perspective or viewpoint that can be helpful. But then Venus and Jupiter, the 2 planets of fortune, reach a perfect climax of their sextile, which is building up all week on Thursday. And that could prove to be outright lucky for you. If you do encounter someone for the first time and you really click, that's a fabulous backdrop to have. But there's also a lot of energy. Mars, in the part of your chart to do with your network, your friendships and your associations, is also linking in a very positive way to Mercury. If you are thinking about going away with a group of people, you're someone who enjoys being very active, the social element around an interest could also be something that gives you a pep. But Venus then moves on Friday into the other sign that she guides of Taurus. Here it's very much about our values, self-worth, and also money, but it's a very sensual, earthy influence. But for you, it is the 8th house. If there has been someone you've been getting to know and it has been going well, this can be hot, hot, hot. Venus diving deep here is very much about intimacy. In an existing relationship, it's possible you can gain financially from a partner's good fortune. However, Venus does clash with Pluto. If there is someone on your cosmic radar that you encounter towards the end of this week, that it's more a raw sexual attraction, just treat it for what it is. If your hopes are beyond that, you could end up being disappointed. But by the weekend, if there is a contractual matter which is dragged on or proved to be hugely elusive, even as far back as over the last year, you could finally push it over the line in a winning matter as the cosmic curtain comes down on this week. Please join me at my new website at www.patrickarundell.com. You can enjoy your free daily, weekly, monthly and yearly general, love and Vedic forecast, but also my 3 tarot, which is absolutely stunning. Also, you can sign up for your free daily written horoscope fired to your device each morning. Please see below for more. Scorpio, your week commencing the 2nd of June forecast begins with you entering this week with Venus and Chiron in a conjunction, asking you to be mindful that in a relationship matter, and it could be one at work, a small but important thoughtful gesture on your part could be really appreciated. But something may have really triggered you over the weekend, something you feel very passionate about in terms of your career or your ambitions. And in fact, Mars forges a very energized link to Mercury. Mercury is about communication. It can be about the details through its rulership of Virgo. But in this combination, if you're someone who's got an idea to buy or sell online, start your own enterprise or apply for a new job, a mixture of your self-belief but also your attention to detail can be very helpful to you. The quarter moon on Tuesday pits the moon in the friendliest part of your chart with the sun in a deep and passionate area. If you have felt that certain involvements or group activities have been a bit stifling, that could see you wanting to take a little bit of a step back. But on Friday, Venus moves into your sector of diplomacy, but it does clash almost immediately with your modern ruler of Pluto. Around a family relationship, it may seem that however much you lean into another person's needs, they're a little bit resistant to your goodwill, which could prove frustrating. But just know by the end of this week, if there is something you've been trying to evolve or improve over the last year, which has seemed a little bit out of your reach, you could get some significant good news, and it may be a financial or income-based situation which finally sees all your hard work paying off. Please join me at my new website at www.patrickarundell.com. You can enjoy your free daily, weekly, monthly and yearly general, love and Vedic forecast, but also my 3 tarot, which is absolutely stunning. Also, you can sign up for your free daily written horoscope fired to your device each morning. Please see below for more. Sagittarius, your week commencing the 2nd of June forecast sees your ruler Jupiter entering the final straight of its journey through your opposite sign of Gemini, which began at the end of May last year. Now, Jupiter, of course, is very much about possibilities, can be about fortune, expansion. In the sign of Gemini, where it's technically detrimented, for you it's about your relationships, your connections. But these may have felt somewhat stifled over the last year. Ordinarily, when Jupiter makes its way through each sign, at a 12-year interval, it does bring a stroke of fortune, and you may have met someone significant over the last 12 months, but there may have been something around the equation where they live, some of their emotional constraints or family issues which have impacted on the situation. But Mercury, of course, is also in that part of your situation, and that's a planet that's at home in Gemini, of course. So there is a chance as Mercury and Jupiter coalesce at the end of this week for some kind of major breakthrough in terms of your connection. Perhaps something you've really had to work for is going to start to come good. It can start to flow much more easily. To be honest, because of the quarter moon on Tuesday, when it comes to a professional relationship, just be aware that there may be something that, however much you're leaning into it and however much you're trying your best to please the other side, they may be somewhat elusive. But that doesn't mean to say that you can't still have a success. In fact, Mercury is forging a very energized link to Mars. Mars for you in the 9th house is very redolent of the energy of your sign. So your ability to see the big picture but communicate your ideas with a huge amount of passion and enthusiasm could come across and be telling and overpower that niggling quarter moon. Also, right at the start of the week, Venus aligns with Chiron. Your talents, your creativity, but also your personal allure can be boosted by this. But later in the week, on Friday, Venus is going to get practical, moving into your 6th house. But it is going to square up with Pluto. So it's important that even if you are going to use Venus in this very practical area to amp up your energy on the details, just be aware of not trying too hard with Pluto in the mix. Please join me at my new website at www.patrickarundell.com. You can enjoy your free daily, weekly, monthly and yearly general, love and Vedic forecast, but also my 3 tarot, which is absolutely stunning. Also, you can sign up for your free daily written horoscope fired to your device each morning. Please see below for more. On your week commencing the 2nd of June forecast begins with an opportunity to get in touch with a sensitive issue, perhaps around a home or family matter, but also find some healing from it as Venus combines with Chiron. Perhaps it's a need to reflect, perhaps to release, maybe even to forgive, not necessarily even yourself, maybe someone close to you who's been a little bit disappointing. But this is a week with the quarter moon in your earth sign of Virgo angling back to the position of the sun in Gemini, where if you let it, something could take on a life force of its own. And you could find yourself actually getting caught up in a bit of a drama. Try to avoid that. The other thing to be conscious of, the Sun, but also Mercury and Jupiter in the practical part of your situation could see you wanting to be virtuous, and the quarter moon could push you to perhaps offer to do something for somebody, which then later could become a little bit of a burden. So it's important not to overpromise this week. But perhaps the most joyous part of the week for you is going to be the arrival of Venus in your sister earth sign of Taurus, which she rules. That occurs on Friday, after a seesaw through this year, initially for the first 3 days of the year in Aquarius, then Pisces, then it's been in Aries and gone back to Pisces, back to Aries. So there's been a lot of dialogue, a lot of emotional energy around your home or family matters, particularly with siblings or neighbours. Now you get a chance to embrace Venus's more pleasurable, fun-loving credentials. And remember, early next week on Monday, both Jupiter and Mercury move together into your sector of relating, where Jupiter's going to be for the following year. So even if there have been strains, disappointments, or There have been things that you've had to learn from over the last year. I feel a much brighter possibility lies ahead with Jupiter's help around the relationship spectrum. Please join me at my new website at www.patrickarundell.com. You can enjoy your free daily, weekly, monthly and yearly general, love and Vedic forecast, but also my three card tarot, which is absolutely stunning. Also, you can sign up for your free daily written horoscope fired to your device each morning. Please see below for more. Aquarius, your week commencing the 2nd of June forecast suggests that your words can really carry extra weight and resonance this week. Even if things have felt rather frustrating this year and you've tried to explain things, try to use all your diplomacy to engage people's interest, if they have seemed somewhat distant or disengaged, that has been a real challenge. Also, over the last year, Jupiter has been in the most exuberant part of your situation, but limited by your traditional ruler, Saturn. And whatever the talent you have or the creativity you've wanted to express, again, it seems to have been audited in a very harsh way. This could be the week when you get a breakthrough, where you start to see the results of a lot of hard work and application, and that talent, creativity and originality, which is a big part of your nature, can bring its reward. Certainly how you connect to others and your enthusiasm, your ability to enliven situations is really lit up with Mars and Mercury in a fabulous link. But also Venus and Jupiter reach a high point on Thursday. This is one of astrology's most fortunate influences, and where those words may have just not quite found the audience you want or the attention that you've craved, now someone could be much more receptive. This could be personally, romantically, it could be professionally. By the end of the week, Venus, however, does move into a part of your chart which is an excellent opportunity to think about home improvements, whether decoratively, or perhaps you want to buy some new furnishings, or perhaps you're going to want to just cocoon yourself a little bit away with some people you're very close to. But as the weekend draws to a close, if you are playing host, you'll want to lavish your visitors with the very best of your hospitality. But generally speaking, this is a very upbeat week, a week which can see you really punching through and making some significant progress. Please join me at my new website at www.patrickarundell.com. You can enjoy your free daily, weekly, monthly and yearly general, love and Vedic forecast, but also my three card tarot, which is absolutely stunning. Also, you can sign up for your free daily written horoscope fired to your device each morning. Please see below for more. Pisces, your week commencing the 2nd of June forecast begins with Venus combining with Chiron in the part of your chart to do with your values, self-worth, life foundations, but also Venus here, particularly over the last few weeks, may in the sign of Aries, as it's gone through its retrograde back into your sign, being afflicted by Saturn. When it comes to a relationship matter, even your relationship with yourself, you may have felt at times a little bit bruised, unappreciated, or perhaps just left out. But Venus combining with Chiron can help you to see into the situation and evaluate just what you do possess. So there's an opportunity for healing right at the start of this week. Also, the quarter moon on Tuesday is in your sector of relating. It's possible that someone close to you may need your support this week. There may also be two friends or family members who are finding it a little bit difficult to get on and may seek your support. Your ability to understand the emotional dimension is certainly boosted by Mercury and Jupiter, your traditional ruler, coming into a perfect alliance as this week draws to a close. But I feel it's Venus moving on Friday into your 3rd house, which is really powerful, because something that may have felt quite stuck around relationships, you can just see communication starting to flow. But don't also be surprised if something that's been rather sensitive comes up into the open with Venus in a square with Pluto. But perhaps the biggest takeout of this week, I feel, is the fact that at the very start of next week, Jupiter moves into a new home. And over the last year, Jupiter has given you a chance to modify, improve, or expand your home-based situation in a practical way, or perhaps work on your emotional understanding. But it has been in a tense standoff with Saturn in your sign. So it may not have been easy, but I feel by the end of this week, however tough it may have been at times, you will have a much greater appreciation of the qualities you possess. And as Jupiter makes its way into the part of your chart that's much more outgoing and joyous for the first time in 12 years, that gives you the chance to think about a much more interactive and outgoing phase of your life. Please join me at my new website at www.patrickarundell.com. You can enjoy your free daily, weekly, monthly and yearly general, love and Vedic forecast, but also my three card tarot, which is absolutely stunning. Also, you can sign up for your free daily written horoscope fired to your device each morning. Please see below for more.